Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni in Sweetwater, Tennessee, and I've got all my fussy cutting over here that we're kind of working our ways through. And today we are going to do a belly band. And in case that sounds funny to any of you, it's not something that you're going to wear. It's for your journal. Okay, so we're going to find the pocket that we did, actually the flip-flop, the Dear Julie Julie flip-flop that we did yesterday. It's right there. And on the other side of that same paper, I want to do a belly band. Okay, so I want to use one of these trims that's from the kit. Okay, and I want to put lace on either side of it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my lace so that it'll be easy enough for me to look at and see what it's going to look like. Okay, so I'm measuring it the size of the page. Where are my sewing scissors? There we go. The size of the page, I'm cutting straight across. And then I'm going to cut this in half because I want it to be on either side of the printed trim. Okay, and the trims that I chose don't really contrast with the page, and I did that on purpose because I do want the trims to show, and this white, I'm staying with white, not any of my coffee dyed lace. This white lace will help it to contrast with the page, but I also kind of want it to blend in because I really like these roses. That's kind of my theme throughout the book. Okay, so I just need to decide which of the trims I want to have in there. So I could have this one, and that's pretty, and I could do beads on it. I could put some seed beads on there if I wanted to. I could have this one, which is kind of nice because, you know, this is all in sepia, and then you've got this color here of, you know, roses. It's not the same design, but that's pretty. And then there's this brown trim, which I really like. I think that's so pretty. But I'm not sure it's really what I want here. It could be. I think right now my top choice is this one. Okay, or I could do that. Ooh, actually, that one I was not expecting to like very much. I really like that. You know what? Maybe because I wasn't expecting to like it, I should try some of these others just to make sure. There's also this one, which I like. Actually, that's kind of nice too because it's not a huge contrast, but it is sort of a contrast. But I think I like this brown one better. And let me try just one other. She has another trim here that I want to make sure I don't like better. Oh, that's kind of pretty too. Oh my goodness. Could I do this on top of that? And then have the lace? Oh. Wish I could hear you guys so that you could tell me what you think. I like the green. It's not a huge contrast, you know, and I don't want a huge contrast, but it is a little bit of a contrast. If I do this, should I do the lace on top of the green, right next to the brown? Oh dear. I think I'm going to, well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to use those two. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside. I think I'm going to trim these to the right size and sew that brown onto the green because that will make it easier for us to see where we want to place the lace. Okay. All right, so I think that's the right size, right? Yeah. Okay, we'll just set these scraps aside because we can use those later. All right, so I'm going to sew the brown onto that kind of very pale green trim. It's almost chartreuse. It's interesting, and I wasn't sure that I liked it until I saw it with this, and it's like, wow, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to zigzag that on. Just because zigzag is what I do. Okay. And I'm just going to turn it around and zigzag on the other side. Okay. All right, now let's take our page and let's put it like this. That's pretty just by itself, really. Do I need the lace? Maybe I don't need the lace. Oh no, I really do like the lace. Okay. If I put the lace like this on either side, it doesn't cover up that green trim. It shows through really nicely. Okay, or I could make the belly band a little bit wider. Ah, yeah. Okay, so we're going to put the lace on the sides, on the edges. They're going to be overlapping some with the band itself, but I want that green to show through. Okay, so I'm going to do that, sew that on, which is the right side. It's this side. I'm going to have it sticking partway off the edge and partway on. Okay, so belly bands are really fun because you can slide things under them. And usually, I mean, I think every time with any that I've made anyway, you would be amazed at how much stuff you can slide under that belly band. It's incredible. One of the things that we'll make is little notebooks, and the belly band is the perfect place to put those. That's pretty. I like that. Okay, so let's do the other side. It goes that way. Okay, and I'm zigzagging again. I pretty much always zigzag. I hardly ever use a straight stitch, and I have lots of really cool other stitches that I really need to use. It's kind of bad that all I do is zigzag. I need to take some time to try those out. Oops, well, that worked. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm just trimming off the lace that's hanging over and trying not to cut off the threads because I do like those. Okay, these are not my fabric scissors, and they worked on one side, but they're not going to work on this side, so just do that real quickly. Okay. All right, so that's our belly band. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to sew it at the top and the bottom, and that way we can slide stuff in here. I'll show you after we get it on. So I'm just going to put it up in the middle. Belly band either goes across the page in the middle of the page, or it goes down the middle, vertically or horizontally. Okay, and when I do this, when I sew this on, I'm starting off of the belly band. I'm not starting on the belly band, so that there are a couple stitches before I actually get to the lace. Okay, and then down here, oh, that is pretty. I like that. I really like it. Good choice of trims, Melody. That's really nice. To be honest, when I saw that green before, I really wasn't sure that I liked it, but I like it here. That's just really nice. Okay, so, and we could do like buttons or something down the middle, but I like it just the way it is. I think that's really pretty. So let's put it in the book, and then I'll show you how you can put something inside there. Oops, it goes this way. There we go, like this. So there's our Dear Julie Julie flip-flop, and here we go. Oh my gosh, isn't that cute? And this green goes really nicely with that over there. So that's perfect. So then, you know, let's say this paper is a booklet or something. You know, you just slide it in under here, and you can slide just a whole bunch of little things under there. So I usually do more than one belly band in a journal, but I was looking through and I really don't have room for another one, I don't think. So this is going to have to be it, unless I do one inside the cover. Oops. Oh, we got this in upside down. There we go. Let's get this thing turned around right. Okay, there's the front. Yeah. We want everything to be right side up. Let's make sure that we've got this in right side up. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, everything else is right side up. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, so that's our belly band. How are we doing time-wise? We could do something else if it's small. Let's see, what else do I have? The paper sack pocket is going to take too long to do right now. Oh, I'll show you something else that I did. I did this off camera. I like to have bookmarks in my journals, and so one thing that I like to do is just like a piece of twine, or I have some leather string that I use, or even ribbon, and then put beads or charms at the end. And then this one, these beads, the holes are so small that I had a hard time finding parts of the twine that they would go on. So I actually had to use two separate pieces of twine. So I tied them together here. And then you just drape them over pages in your book, which this isn't bound yet, so it's a little hard to do, but and then they just hang down like that. And if I don't want this hanging down quite that far, what I can do is tie a knot up at the top to shorten it, kind of like, you know, ladies, how you do with your purses with the shoulder bands, to make the purse not hang down as far. Here, I'll do it right now just to show you. Okay, so we want it up here. So it's actually going to be right where that bead is, where I tied the pieces together. So we're going to make a knot. Okay, like that. Okay, so all you do, two ends of your twine, you put on your beads or your charms or whatever it is that you want to put on the bottom. Okay, and then you can just hang this over some pages. So like I want to mark these 2 pages, let's say. All right, and there we go. So this is hanging down, and I always make these 2 sides different from each other so that I know this is where I'm doing such and such, and this is where I'm doing this other thing, whatever it is. And then you've got this sticking up, which is nice, you know, with that bead and everything. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff sticking up here from the top and the bottom and the sides and everything by the time that we're finished. So so that just adds, you know, a little more interest to it. It makes it a little bit more usable and everything. I'm putting this in my box with my scraps and cards and stuff for doing later, because it's not really convenient to have in there before I bind it. In fact, let's put this bookmark in there too. Okay, so that's, let me just see if there's anything else that we can do really quickly. Not really. Okay, so that's it for today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. We'll have a few more things. We really don't have much to do before we bind this. We're going to be binding it soon, and I should just go ahead and tell you what you need for binding is you need an awl. Okay, so mine's like this. You can find them in the sewing department. My husband got this in the hardware section. We didn't even think about looking in the sewing department, but when I was in the sewing department at Walmart the other day, they had these ones that have these nice round handles, which I'm not sure if that would be easier to hold on to, or this is really, I like this. I kind of think that I like this better than the ones that they have in the sewing section, because what you've got to do is you've got to be able to get into the book while it's closed, and you're going to be poking holes in it. Okay, and we'll probably stand up to do that. I usually stand up to do it because I've got to really put my back into it. And then I have a board. This is actually some of the siding from our house up in the mountains. I have a board that I use to put it on when I'm doing it, because obviously I don't want to poke holes in my table. So you need that, and then you need something to actually bind it with. And I have used lots of different things for binding. I've used twine like this, which my twine ball is totally falling apart, or thin ribbon like this. It needs to be really thin. Or There's like this linen binding stuff that you can use, binding floss, or I have this leather that I really like to use. The other thing that I've used, and I don't have it here at my desk, is baker's twine, and that seems to work really well too. So lots of options. It needs to be something that you can get into a needle. Where are my needles? Oh, here we go. So into, I think this is a crewel embroidery needle. Okay, it's got a big, huge eye in it. Okay, so what you use has to be able to fit into that. That's kind of the determining factor. You can make holes big enough for anything, but it's got to fit into that needle. So an awl, a needle, something to bind with, and something, either a piece of wood, or some people use like an old book, that they just use that same book over and over for binding their journals. So something to protect your surface is basically what I'm saying. So that's what you're going to need for binding. We're going to have a couple more things, a couple more videos before we do the binding, but you might want to start getting that stuff together so that you're ready for it. All right, I love you all. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.